Phoenix shoot 57%. Well, Orlando on Friday night won in Portland 114-106. Like their first ever victory against the Portland Trailblazers.
Well, with the addition of Shaquille O'Neal, there are going to be a lot of firsts for the Orlando Magic and Matty Gukas. This young man has come into the league and made such an impact on the floor, outside of it, with the attention that he's drawn and how he's handled himself. And this is a pretty good basketball team right now.
Well, the Magic with 3 straight wins on the road. They're 3 out of 3 on this 5-game road trip. Barkley had it, but lost it. Marley on a recovery. So Richard Dumas, who has played well recently, gives Phoenix a 2-0 lead. 10 for 19, 24 points for Dumas against the Lakers on Friday night. Scott Skiles operating against Kevin Johnson. This is Anthony Bowie. They collapse on Shaquille. Skiles pitches out to Tolbert. And he's tied the game at 2. Tom Tolbert, as Dan Hicks mentioned, bothered by an ankle injury, sprained right ankle, suffered the other night, but he is in the starting lineup. Opening minute from Phoenix, Arizona. And it will be Orlando ball.
Phoenix comes on the floor with an attitude basically of, you must outscore us. You must find a way to score more points than we do. They're the #1 scoring team in the NBA. They have a number of players who can go out and have big nights against your team. So you've got to find a way to stop this team offensively.
Foul called on Mark West. He felt it was a soft call by Steve Javie, working along with Jack Madden, George Tolliver.
And Paul Westphal mentioned yesterday that it would be important that West played a lot of minutes. Obviously, the big body against Shaquille, but don't be surprised to see Paul Westphal go to a very, very small team. He loves to use it. That would mean Charles Barkley will be matched up against Shaquille.
And here he is, Shaquille O'Neal, with his first field goal. Shaquille shooting 57%. That is second in the league behind Brad Daugherty. Barkley ties the game at 4.
Most times Charles may have taken that pass, a half lob pass, turned the corner and gone to the basket, but he's very aware of the fact that Shaquille will be coming to try and change or block a shot.
Anderson's passing on the 3. Here's Bowie. Anthony Bowie has started the last 13 games, a product of the CBA. Orlando coming up with a steal. He can score. He can play tough defense. Originally a 3rd-round draft pick of Houston. Spent some time with the Nets and the San Antonio Spurs. Off the steal, Dumas. The game is tied at 6.
What you have out here for both teams are different lineups than played last time when Phoenix beat Orlando 108-107 down in Orlando. Last game, Dennis Scott was starting. Bowie was coming off the bench as Shaquille follows and almost and does bring down the entire backcourt.
That's one we haven't seen.
Well, he didn't break it. He just took it down. The big guy followed up shots, and if you leave to go try and block someone else's shot, you're going to have Shaquille all over the glass on the rim. How strong is he? Well, I think this backboard company will attest to it.
Now, that is the more modern way of trying to make your mark on the game. Don't have to shatter the glass. You just take the entire apparatus down with you to the floor.
Mark West has a tough decision today because Mark is a shot blocker. He goes after people that are trying to make layups. He leaves Shaq. The problem there, who else is going to step in and try and put a body on the big fella?
Now, how would you like to be Mark West following that exhibition of trying to get Shaquille off the blocks next time down? Here's another look at it. This will be full speed. And what's the reaction of the backboard?
It's kind of like a heavyweight boxing match when you hit somebody and there's this delayed reaction where he goes down after the punches hit him about 2 seconds later.
And they are checking to see if the support will be able to handle any more Shaq attacks.
Well, they'll have to check a couple things. First, the distance from the baseline. There is a 4 feet cushion between the backboard and the baseline. That's how you see players go back underneath and come up on the other side for their move. So there's 4 feet that way they have to be concerned about, that it's in the right position. Then, obviously, a concern for the height of the rim, okay, from the floor. Must be at 10 feet.
Mike, see, when I was growing up, and if I'd be involved with my friends playing a game like this, we tell the guy to go home. You can't play here anymore. I mean, this is just not right.
You take your basketball and go home, right?
Get out of here. Well, those of you who tune in from time to time to the NBA's inside stuff are aware that Shaq has been even ruder when it comes to backboards. A little one-on-one involvement with Ahmad Rashad. And that backboard was history.
Well, most arenas keep an extra backboard available in case one should happen to crack or break completely during the course of a game. I don't know how many arenas keep an extra stanchion, okay, the support system available, thinking that someone might break that.
Shaquille O'Neal, 7'1", about 295, 300 pounds, so powerful. Rebounds, block shots. And has a raw but developing offensive game. We are just seeing the early stages of Shaquille.
I get a little chuckle out of people that say, and he doesn't even know the game yet. Well, how about like if Nolan Ryan didn't know the game of baseball when he first showed up, but he threw it at 100 miles an hour, nobody could get a bat around. This guy goes out and does what he has to do to help his team win. He scores, he rebounds, he blocks shots, and their record is the evidence of it right there. Over 500 in the 6th spot right now if the playoffs were to start for the Eastern Conference.
The Czar reaching out to a number of sports here in the early going. A little baseball, a little boxing. Well, we played 2.5 minutes of this first quarter. The Sons of the Magic are tied at 6. And checking things out under the stands in the back of the arena is our Dan Hicks. Let's go to Dan.
Well, thanks a lot, Marv. The officials here at the American Arena pretty much anticipated this event may be happening. Behind me is a brand new backboard that officials have had placed here for a number of days. The spare being because they knew Shaquille O'Neal and Charles Barkley, together 2 renowned rim hangers, might. And right behind me is the new structure that they are rolling in. They are going to replace the entire structure because of the Shaq attack on the last rim. So this glass backboard is already in place. So the spare one will perhaps wait for another moment in this game with Charles Barkley and Shaquille O'Neal. The delay should only take about 10 minutes before they get the brand new structure in. Marv.
Thank you, Dan. That is on the spot reporting the new backboard racing in behind Dan as he speaks. And the players apparently are headed back to their respective locker room. We will have a brief delay. There's the man, Shaquille O'Neal, who took the entire apparatus down with him. Jack Madden just came over to give an explanation of what will take place.
Jack Madden reported that they are going to replace the entire structure. It will take approximately 10 to 15 minutes to do that. Both teams have been allowed to go back to the locker room, and they will be allowed then to warm up again before the game continues.
All right, here's another look at it. Moments ago. Off the follow, Shaquille, and he hung on the front of the rim for balance, and he took it right down with him.
It seemed like the pull forward by Shaq as he followed up, took it forward with him, and then when he released it, Shaq started running right away. He thought the whole thing was coming down on top of him.
So yet a new episode in the embryonic stages of the NBA career of Shaquille O'Neal. They are making the announcement on the public address that there will be a slight delay so they can replace the basket, the backboard. It'll be about a 10 to 15 minute delay. Hey, are the guys in Chicago and Portland ready? Or is it too early? Well, this is the practice court that is located inside this new America West arena. And the Phoenix Suns will keep warm by shooting around on the practice court.
This arena was laid out by Jerry Colangelo. He went to each separate department and asked them, what do you want in there to make it the best it can be? He went to his trainer. He went to his coaching staff. You can tell that this was not an arena that was constructed and then, after the fact, a basketball court was placed down. This thing is completely done with the idea in mind that it's a basketball facility first, and they have everything, a terrific locker room with every gizmo that you need. They have their own practice court where anytime that they want to practice, it's their floor.
And apparently somebody on the Phoenix Suns staff did not want the camera checking out the practice court. So 2.5 minutes gone by in this first quarter. The Orlando Magic with an 8-6 lead on the Phoenix Suns. Golden State playing Boston up at the Boston Garden. While we get things together here, we will switch to that game. So let us join with Tom Hammond.
Well, welcome to those of you who have been watching Orlando and Phoenix as Shaquille has done his work. He's broken the backboard, so you're going to join us for a while. We're at the Boston Garden in a tie game. We'll be back for the Warriors and Celtics right after these messages.
Good question. I think young people today finally realize that these are the serious 90s. Kids today have come to accept that this is a time for introspection, moderation. You can just witness the new emphasis on discipline everywhere you look. That's the way it is, isn't it? I'm not making this up. Listen, a lot of research went into this.
It's hot. It's spicy. It sizzles. It's the new hot-looking, hot-blooded Ford Ranger. The 1993 Ford Ranger. It's the hottest thing to hit America since the chili pepper.
Ford trucks, the best ever is.
Since your face can't adjust to your razor, the Schick Tracer adjusts to your face. Tracer's the only razor with blades that bend and flex for a clean, close, comfortable shave. Schick, we're changing the face of shaving.
Hi, Shaquille O'Neal.
Welcome back to the Boston Garden bonus cover.
Like cold-filtered Miller Genuine Grad. Get out of the
attack made its way to the Valley of the Sun. It is now a 31-minute delay since Shaquille O'Neal rearranged the backboard, took the entire apparatus down. Only 2.5 minutes into the game with the Magic up on the score of 8-6. This is the scene while we were away. We were catching up in the Golden State-Boston game. Repairs were made, and Mike, they had to take the old shot clock off the original backboard because apparently it would not fit through the tunnel area.
The entranceway where they brought the new support system in and where they wanted to take the old one out, too low to do it with the 24-second apparatus, they had to remove it first.
So they had to bring in apparently an older style clock that eventually went on top of the backboard. Apparently these will now be the main shot clocks, the ones that are located on the facade of the America West Arena. That will never be the same following this afternoon's incident.
No, the players will have to direct their attention elsewhere to pick it up. And this was the spare support system, which very easy to see that we needed to do a little work on these to get them back in proper shape so that the players were protected. A few stitches here, a little tape here and there to make it look a little bit better, and most importantly, protect those players when they get up there.
And both clubs are back out on the floor now, warming up and getting ready to resume. So the old padding, some makeshift work was done. For more on this ongoing repair job, let's go over to Dan Hicks.
Well, I'm here with Jerry Colangelo, the president of the Phoenix Suns. I guess the Shack wanted to give his own brand of welcome to the America West Arena.
You know, this equipment is guaranteed up against just about anything, I guess, except the Shack attack. The media was asking whether or not I was going to send an invoice to him. If we win, the answer is no. If we lose, hopefully we don't. If we do, I am sending him an invoice for $15,000.
Well, I think the Shack could probably handle that.
I think he can, too.
Well, with Charles Barkley here as well, there could... Now, I understand there's not another structure in the building. Is that correct? What if this happens again?
Well, what's necessary is to have a backup. We do have the backup now, but we never really anticipated something like that ever happening, and I hope it doesn't happen again. Otherwise, this game could be in jeopardy.
Well, the Shack certainly has had its effect on the equipment standards in the NBA. Let's go back. DeMar.
All right, Dan, apparently now the basket is not squared up with the free throw line, and they are checking that out. And we will check out how this all occurred. 2.5 minutes gone by in the first quarter, and this is the sequence that led to it.
Mark West leaves his man. Shaquille almost pulls it down onto the floor. Instead, the delay as it goes down for the count.
I would have to say this is one of the oddest incidents that I've seen in a basketball arena. You've seen a couple of backboards, I think, that have been hauled down. The Darryl Dawkins incident comes to mind. First off,
I had one with a team that I coached in Atlanta on Christmas Eve. We were playing in Philadelphia, and in warm-ups prior to the game, Antoine Carr, dunking the basketball, shattered the backboard. Now, at that time, the rule was if a player broke the backboard, Mark, he was suspended for a game, which we felt was totally unfair at that time. It was a bad rule. It was changed right after that, but we lost Antoine Carr for a game. Now the rule is if you break the backboard during a game, it's a technical foul. The opponent shoots a free throw. However, it is not an unsportsman technical, so if a player should then get another technical foul, he would not be ejected from the game.
Let's go back to Dan Hicks. Well, apparently we're not able to hear Dan, but you are looking at some of the America West Arena maintenance people who are attempting to repair the original stanchion, which supports the backboard and the basket.
It was very tough for Dan to hear us with the mask on as he was doing the repairs.
Dan's very versatile, does nice work on the side, and it looks like we're set to play. The official count, 35-minute delay. The Orlando Magic 8 and the Phoenix Suns 6 as we resume. Dumas called for a traveling violation.
Something that we'll see quite a lot of today in the Phoenix offense, the pick and roll two-man game. They change who sets the screen. That time, Dumas sets the screen, but you'll see it with Charles Barkley. You'll see it with Mark West. You'll see it with Tom Chambers. The flexibility of the Phoenix team.
Both clubs have opened up shooting well. Orlando 4 for 5. Phoenix 3 out of 3. The officials check it out. It is deflected out by the Suns. So it will be Orlando possession.
Trying to thread the needle through the crowd. Bowie spots his teammate Tolbert under the basket, but the deflection by Phoenix.
Steve Javie and Jack Madden are still talking about it. And they'll stay with the call. Nick Anderson coming off the hot shooting game on Friday night. And Charles Barkley got inside Shaquille O'Neal.
Right now, what Paul Westphal has done is gone to his small team on the floor. No Mark West out there. It's Barkley playing Shaquille.
Yes, Danny Ainge has come on as part of that substitution pattern.
Charles puts the body and actually moves Shaq out of there as he jumps for the basketball. You need to keep body contact, especially when you're giving up 7 or 8 inches.
And a foul called on Shaquille O'Neal. Do you think there's any chance that Shaquille could be affected subconsciously by taking the basket down?
No, I think it's just one more thing that he's realizing during his brief career here in the NBA, and he's just going to add that to the list of other amazing things that he's accomplished, and that's not going to bother him one bit.
No, I mean in terms of affecting how hard he goes to the hoop. And after a guy like breaks a backboard, obviously in the past there were, as you mentioned, some of the legalities involved, some of the fines that were tossed out, but I wonder if it affects his game a little.
If he wasn't frightened after the spill he took on the other incident where he smashed the glass, nothing else. That was a tough fall onto the ground. This one was just ruining a structure.
And that's a charge on Scott Skiles.
Dribble penetration, you want your defense to rotate over, and this has been a question mark for the Phoenix team. How good defensively can they be? Danny Ainge, a guy never afraid to stick his nose in there and take the contact.
Now Dumas from outside. Rebounded by Tolbert. The game tied at 8 with 3.5 gone by following the 35-minute delay. Here's Skiles. And Bowie on a back top, handled by Marley. Kevin Johnson. For Dan Marley shooting the three. Air ball. Dumas puts it down.
One of the big pluses for this Phoenix team is their ability to shoot the three-point shot. They are #1 in the NBA in three-point field goal percentage, shooting over 38%, and #1 in attempts per game from behind the three-point line, almost 14 a game. They extend your defense.
Tom Tolbert with an outside touch, and Marley hit 4 from downtown, 4 out of 6 on Friday night against the Los Angeles Lakers. Barkley given some room by Tolbert, and illegal defense called against Orlando.
The matchup was Shaquille against Dumas that time. Dumas took himself above the top of the circle. Shaquille got caught below the foul line, trying to help out on Charles Barkley. That's where the illegal defense got called.
The Phoenix Suns 17-1 here at home. Barkley. And Dumas pops it back out. Here's Ainge for 3. Rebound Barkley. Barkley swings in.
Smart play that time by Charles Barkley. When he gave the up and under move and was prepared to shoot the layup, he knew Shaquille was on his way over to block it, dished it off to the teammate for the score.
And now the matchup is Barkley defensively against Shaquille O'Neal. Kevin Johnson. And twice down court. At this end, Barkley was able to box out O'Neal. Dumas with a fast start. He has 10 points. Suns lead by 2. And a timeout is being called.
Charles Barkley working the offensive glass, makes an excellent move down low inside, backs his man to the point where he can use his back to the basket moves. He shows it, gets him in the air, steps through, but no shot because the big man was coming, Shaquille. Instead, he passes it off to Dumas for the score.
6:37 remaining, first quarter. Phoenix with a 2-point lead with the timeout. Let's go to Bob Costas in New York.
Okay, Marv, why is it that I have the feeling this is not the last time we'll see a game delayed because Shaquille O'Neal broke something inadvertently? They may begin to time these delays the way they do rain delays in baseball. They may become regular occurrences. Because of that delay, things are thrown off just a little bit here on NBC, but that doesn't mean that you'll miss anything. At halftime, we'll have a preview of the Bulls-Portland Trailblazers game, which is the second half of the doubleheader. Chicago has won their last several games on the road, but they've endured difficulty prior to this in the last month or so, and we'll talk about the situation facing the Bulls this year, how much different it is from the last couple of years. And we'll also talk with Bud Collins, the Boston Globe columnist and NBC tennis commentator, who, of course, knew Arthur Ashe very well. We'll pay tribute to Arthur and review his life and career at halftime. So please stay with us as we continue here on NBC. You won't miss a thing despite the lengthy delay caused by the backboard problems in Phoenix. That's where we are, Phoenix. And let's go back there to Marv Albert and Mike Fratello. Marvelous.
All right, Bob, as you see, the Phoenix Suns with a 12-10 lead on the Orlando Magic. And we've seen a matchup last couple of minutes of Charles Barkley and Shaquille O'Neal. Earlier, Mike had an opportunity to talk with Charles about going up against Shaquille.
I'm not going to stick my hand up there and get no poster shot. No, I'm not crazy. I've been around too long to go up try to block his dunk. Now, I'm either going to make him shoot a fadeaway jumper, and if he goes around me, I'm going to just go to the other end and try to get the two back for myself. But I'm not going to get in there poster shots. You can be rest assured of that.
But to this point, he's done a good job in boxing out, using his positional skills to get a couple of rebounds.
Well, he's going to accept the challenge of going up against Shaquille O'Neal. And what surprises me is that Paul Westphal went to this small team very early. Last game against the Lakers, it was about 2 minutes and 40 seconds left in the second quarter before he put this team on the floor. But he told us yesterday, the small team are my 5 best players. Right now, West is back in the game.
And committed the foul as O'Neal was able to power his way. So the Suns have gone back to Mark West, matched with Shaquille O'Neal.
And the reasoning here is you put the bigger, stronger guy in, but the problem is he immediately fouls. Shaq with the opportunity now for three-point play.
West committing his second. The Suns and Magic tied at 12 with 6:20 to go in this first quarter.
Go back to the last meeting between these two teams. It was Danny Ainge who fouled Shaquille intentionally at the end of the game. He missed both foul shots. The Magic lost by 1.
Once again, Marley not able to hit the 3. Skiles with the one-bounce lead that was anticipated, stolen by Johnson. Here's Barkley going at O'Neal.
It's quite obvious that the coaching staff in Orlando has told Shaquille, do not pick up early fouls, a problem that most rookies are going to have in the NBA. Shaq that time basically conceded the score to Charles.
The Suns by 2. Suns looking for steals, overplaying. Here's Bowie. Anthony Bowie with 4 points.
Kevin Johnson anticipating that Skiles was going to try and hit the left wing. Little head fake defensively and then reach back and grab the bounce pass. At the other end, Shaq says, no foul. I'll just stand here. You score it, Charles. I'll get back at you later on.
Now Mark West sits down. Tom Chambers has come on for the first time. Barkley gunning for a 3. That has not been a strong point in the arsenal of Charles Barkley.
It's one of the things that you deal with. Charles likes to get his shots at the basket from behind the three-point line. Obviously, the better shooters behind there are Danny Ainge and Dan Marley.
Tom Chambers called for the foul.
This is one of those timing reverse plays. Eye contact, the spin reverse, and the attempted lob pass that time for the Shaq.
And Tom Tolbert has come out and hit 3 for 3. Orlando 16, Phoenix 14.
And because of his ability to shoot the ball, Tolbert, that's why he feeds Shaquille many times. They must respect his shot.
Dumas, 5 out of 6 from the field. He has 12. The game is tied at 16. Richard Dumas, second-round draft pick last year, had drug problems, went through a drug treatment program, played for Oklahoma City in the CBA. And also, as you see, O'Neal bank at home, also played for John Lucas's Miami Tropics in the USBL this past summer. And he's been a very important player in this rise of the Phoenix Suns.
Just a rookie, a young man who took his physical, was activated, went out and practiced that day, and the following day was immediately inserted on the floor in the next basketball game with the Phoenix Suns, and now moves right into the starting lineup.
Dumas, the high point man. He has 12. Barkley, yes. The game tied at 18. 6 points for Barkley. Shaquille O'Neal has 8. Shaquille has hit 4 out of 4. Now Shaquille is up high at the head of the circle. Now moves down low against Chambers. O'Neal gets inside. Shaquille O'Neal looking unstoppable here in the early going. O'Neal complaining he thought he was fouled. The Magic 20, the Suns 18. Barkley is fouled. Hammered. That's the second for Shaquille.
Shaquille not going to give up the dunk that time. Comes over, has a clear shot, a good look at it. The foul called that time with the body contact on the Shaq.
Charles Barkley coming off a 10 of 18 20-point game against the Lakers. Shooting only 74% from the line. He's averaging 25.5 per game. And misses on both.
Decision time for Matty Guokas. Do you leave Shaquille on the floor with 2 fouls here in the first period, or do you take him out and go to the bench?
Skiles played by Johnson. Anderson guarded by Marley. Anderson with the step. Nick Anderson, who last year averaged just under 20 per game, missed 22 games in what has to be considered, Mike, the most bizarre injury of the NBA season. Reportedly was sucker punched at a rock concert, as you see Kevin Johnson bring the Suns within 2. Nick Anderson took a shot from someone at a rock concert, suffered a fractured right eye socket, and has made it back. He's had an outstanding season. Anderson again. That's his second field goal for 4.
I had an opportunity to watch them in their victory against Portland on Friday evening, and Nick Anderson is a guy who, when he came in the league, was somewhere between a small forward and big guard. He has really worked on his ball handling ability. It showed up against Portland. Did an excellent job of leading a number of fast breaks and decision-making passes.
Crowd wanted to travel. Skiles to the left hand. Rebounded by Chambers. Barkley to the crossover. A nice fake. Shaquille O'Neal did not want to pick up a third, but a pretty fake by Barkley.
And Matty Guokas trying to get a little bit of help from the official. Wanted to know why Barkley wasn't called for the push-off on the drive.
Orlando with the ball and a 2-point lead. Here's Bowie giving it back to Tolbert. He's had the hot hand, and they respect that. They doubled up on him. Now Tolbert from deep. That's a 3-point attempt, and it's an air ball. 2:03 remaining in this first quarter. Matty Guokas and his Orlando Magic leading the Phoenix Suns 24-22 as you watch the pull-up by Barkley. So Charles with 8 points. Timeout has been taken. We'll be back in a moment.
When Ford refined the full-size car, we made its shape more aerodynamic.
Not have 24-second clocks. Normally, all trainers keep those in the locker room for those road away games during exhibition season.
Shaquille O'Neal has hit 5 for 5 from the field. He has 10 points. He does have 2 personal fouls. Richard Dumas leading the Phoenix Suns on 5 out of 6 shooting for 12 points.
This might be a good time for Matty Guokas to give Shaquille a couple-minute break. He probably feels that without Shaquille, the gap could open up too quickly because Phoenix scores points so fast. But if he picks up a third, he's done for the rest of the first half.
Illegal defense. So that is their second violation, and that spells out technical foul. Tom Chambers will go to the line. Phoenix Suns have won their last 2. They've taken 8 of the last 9. Record of 33-9, leading the Pacific by 5 games. The only home loss, they've won 17 of 18 here in Phoenix. The only loss was back in November to the Chicago Bulls. They have won 14 straight at the new America West Arena. The Magic by 1. Johnson with the step, trying to set up Barkley, and it was deflected out by Anderson of Orlando.
Let's go back to a moment ago, the illegal defense. Shaquille is located right here, and his man is going to cut across the lane. Shaq has to go with him. If he doesn't stay with him, it's illegal. He starts to go, gets caught right in the middle of the lane. That's illegal. You can't guard the air. You must guard a player.
Shot clock down to 8. Johnson fires. Phoenix by 1. 25-24. Scott Skiles handling. He has 6 assists in this first quarter. Nick Anderson, played by Dan Marley, going to the crossover. Marley all over him. And here's Shaquille to the right hand. What about those raw offensive moves? As you say, Mike, when this guy gets a game, he'll really be something. You know?
They said he has no jump hook. Well, what was that? Looked like he had one there.
Orlando leads by 1. And a foul is called. Reach-in foul. Foul committed by Skiles.
This is a 20-year-old who sees the clock running down, has the ball about 22 feet from the basket, improves his position, and then simply jumps over the top of Tom Chambers and shoots it down at the basket.
What is impressive about Shaquille O'Neal, he worked with Bill Walton, worked out with Magic Johnson. Chambers on the recovery. He attended Pete Newell's big man camp last summer. All this accelerating his offensive progress. Early in his career at LSU, he was little more than a dunker, and you can see that he's shown signs of coming on, and there's so much more to come.
But I like the statement that I saw this morning in the newspapers where he said, look, I'm a big guy. I'm supposed to shoot most of my shots close to the basket. I don't want to go outside and take long shots. I want to be down low and bang people and be physical.
Here's Tolbert. Tolbert able to hustle it down. Tom Tolbert, fifth year out of Arizona, originally a second-round draft pick of Charlotte, then spent time with Golden State before moving to Orlando. Here's O'Neal feeling the contact. So Shaquille will go to the line. Charles Barkley called for his first.
Does he have the ability to put the ball on the floor? Yes, he does. Just enough to get to where he has to take a high percentage shot. That time the body contact knocks him off balance.
And they've changed the call. They say that Chambers got him first, so Chambers picks up his second. Barkley does not have any fouls. Danny Ainge back on the floor, and he replaces Tom Chambers. Well, if there's any weak spot in the offensive arsenal of Shaquille O'Neal, it is at the free throw line. Only 58%, but hits the two right here.
And think about that. He's 7th in scoring in the NBA right now, almost 24 points per game, shooting only 58% from the foul line. When he starts to move that up, picks up extra easy points, he'll be at the top in scoring.
Dumas heaving one up, time running down in this first quarter. After 1 here in Phoenix, the Orlando Magic with a 28-25 lead on the Phoenix Suns. Shaquille O'Neal with 14 points on 6 for 6 from the field. And Richard Dumas leading the Suns with 12. We'll be right back.
Cold-filtered Miller Genuine Draft. For those who discovered its smooth draft taste, the world is a very cool place.
As times changed, so did the Ford full-size pickup. But it was always tough as nails, and boy, could it tow a boat. Today, it's still tough. But now it has more power, more style, more comfort. And boy, can it tow a boat. Times change, trucks change. But Ford Tough never does.
The best ever best.
Welcome back to Phoenix, Arizona, in what may have been the longest first quarter in NBA history. We had a 34-minute delay because Shaquille O'Neal, in scoring on a putback, took the entire basket apparatus down with him. And they had to replace it. Finally did. Took 34 minutes. And finally got underway. And Shaquille on fire in that opening quarter. The Magic shot 59%. 13 for 22. While Phoenix 11 for 20 for 55%.
You know, I mentioned with 2 minutes remaining in the first quarter that it might be time to take Shaquille out of the game since he has 2 personal fouls. He didn't want him to pick up his third and be out then for the remainder of the first half. But no one knows the team better than the coach, the guy who's with him every day. Matty Guokas knows this young man. He knows that he has the ability. All of his teammates say all you have to do is tell him something once or twice, and he picks it up, okay? He makes the adjustments. Obviously, Matty telling him, look, we need you on the floor a lot of minutes, still does not take him out of the lineup starting the second quarter.
Well, there's a complete stat line and perhaps a new column that the NBA may be considering in future statistical rundowns. Second quarter underway. Marv Albert with the czar of the telestrator, Mike Fratello, along with Dan Hicks. The Orlando Magic in possession. They lead 28-25 as Scott Skiles works against Frank Johnson, who just checked in. Donald Royal on the floor for the first time for Orlando. 3-year man out of Notre Dame. Bowie setting it up. Anthony Bowie. And the Magic up 30-25. Bowie has 6 points.
Bowie actually played on the same team as Frank Johnson in Italy, where they were teammates over there before Frank Johnson came back over to the NBA.
Richard Dumas has been unstoppable. He has 14. As Frank Johnson, 34 years old. Same Frank Johnson, many of you remember from the Washington Bullets, spent 7 years there, spent a year with Houston. And he was playing in Italy, as you mentioned, that the last 3 years.
The athleticism of Dumas, the ability to jump up over the top of Shaquille.
Steve Kerr checking in for the first time for the Magic. One-time Phoenix Sun and a standout at the University of Arizona. Marley. Well, the Suns, usually so effective from three-point range, have been off. They are 0 for 5 from downtown.
Going into a game against Phoenix, one of the things you need to go your way is you have to hope they do not shoot the ball well from the perimeter, and in particular from behind the three-point line. Then your defense doesn't have to extend out and then allow them to beat you off the dribble to the basket.
Charles Barkley over the scorer's table wanted to check in, but he was waved off, they say, until the next dead ball. He was not pleased about it. Orlando 30 and Phoenix 27 as Danny Ainge handles against Anthony Bowie. West. And Dumas with the hustle. And a new 24 for the Suns. Frank Johnson played by Steve Kerr. Here's Mark West again. West with the mismatch against Tolbert. Magic 30, the Suns 29.
And if you're Matty Guokas, you only leave Shaquille on the bench for a couple of minutes. You know that his presence out there is so important to discouraging Phoenix from taking it to the basket.
And Donald Royal does just that. He takes it to the hoop. Donald Royal signed as a free agent. He was overseas playing in Israel. Originally a third-round draft pick for the Cavaliers back in 87. A strong move. He'll go to the line when we come back. A timeout taken. The Magic by 3.
With cold-filtered Miller Genuine Draft, the world's a very cool place.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by McDonald's. What you want is what you get, guaranteed at McDonald's today. By Mazda. Mazda, it just feels right. And by AT&T, the right choice.
Welcome back to the NBA Game of the Week. This is the first of our doubleheader with the Suns and the Magic to be followed by Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls going up against Clyde Drexler and the Portland Trailblazers, a rematch of last year's NBA Finals. They did meet earlier back in December. in Chicago. The Bulls won that game 111-99. Bulls returning from a 20-day road trip and then beat the Blazers, led by Jordan, who had 38. Now, Drexler and Kersey did not play in that game because of knee injuries. And at halftime in Boston, the Celtics lead Golden State by 1. You were with us earlier. You saw some of that game as we were in that 34-minute Shaquille O'Neal taking the basket down delay. Here in Phoenix, the Magic 33, the Suns 29. 2.5 gone by in the second quarter. Kevin Johnson for Frank Johnson. Danny Ainge for 3. Yes. So the Suns, after missing their first 5 from downtown, are able to convert.
What you have now, 2 small units on the floor for both teams. Tolbert acting as the center for Orlando. Charles Barkley, the 5-man or center spot for the Phoenix Suns.
Steve Kerr has the good range. Dumas, he was given room. He has done it from all angles. 7 for 9, 16 points.
The feeling on Dumas when he first came in by most coaches was he's such a great athlete. He gets his stuff on fast breaks and off the offensive board. So they tell their players early, back off, make them make shots. This gentleman can shoot the ball with that in-between range, the 18-footer, 20-footer.
Illegal defense called for the first time. Phoenix with a 1-point lead, 8:35 to go in this first half. Shaquille O'Neal getting a rest. And since he has sat down, the Phoenix Suns have been able to take the lead. Shaquille off to the blistering start. He has 14 points. And Nick Anderson with his 3rd field goal. The Magic by 1.
Because of his ability to play the small forward position, which basically he was coming out of college, too strong for Danny Ainge down low.
Frank Johnson able to penetrate.
In talking with Frank Johnson yesterday, the way he wound up with Phoenix was he was talking to Dick Percadani, the scout for the Suns, and Dick said, you know, we have 2 excellent point guards as Kevin Johnson comes up with the steal, but they always seem to get hurt. He said, stick around.
18 points for Dumas, and the Suns by 3.
Getting back to the Frankie Johnson thing for a second. Percadani mentioned stick around. One of them is likely to get injured. Well, sure enough, Kevin Johnson goes down early in the year. Frankie Johnson makes the team.
And Bowie got bottled up. He's called for a charge. Offensive foul.
It's the second time that Kevin Johnson anticipated the pass, came up with the steal, and then the ability to convert. Dumas as good as anyone in the open floor.
Anthony Bowie departs. Scott Skiles is back. Kevin Johnson and Frank Johnson, not related, in the backcourt. Here's Barkley. And it's saved by Royal. Skiles and Kerr at the guards now for Orlando. Kerr for 3. Rebounded by Barkley. Gets it down to Johnson. The Suns lead by 5.
Time to get Shaquille back on the floor. If you're Matty Gukas, you don't want this team to build up too much of a lead. They score points quickly and in bunches.
And a timeout taken by the Orlando Magic with 6:52 remaining in the first half.
One of the things that Charles Barkley has said is it's nice with this team that I don't have to carry the load all the time. There are so many people that can score points here. Kevin Johnson said, you know what? Actually, guys take different times of taking over the game. That time, Barkley with the long pass, happy about it.
The DeskJet 500 black and white printer. The DeskJet Portable. The DeskJet 550C printer with color. See what you can do. With DeskJet printers from Hewlett-Packard, it's easy to make it happen.
In December, Motor Trend chose the all-new Mazda 626 ES as a best buy in sports sedans. They praised its handling, standard airbag, room for 5 real-sized humans, and sporty Luxo surroundings. I wonder what they'd say about a Mazda 626 DX for $199 a month. The $199 lease, but it's only good until March 20th. So hurry.
Hey kids, meet Danny Manning. As a Clipper, he's hard as nails. As a Gladiator, he's fierce and menacing. But on the beach, he's showing his lighter side to Ahmad Rashad. This powerful forward is really a gentle giant. Also, a special sneak peek at the hot new video of the secret NBA. Get inside the game. Listen, get in there. And see your favorite players like you've never seen them before. That's a good one for the tape. Not your normal features, not your normal announcers, not your normal sports show. But then again, who wants normal? NBA Inside Stuff, Saturday morning on NBC.
Well, the Phoenix Suns are #1 in the NBA in three-point shooting this season. Today, as you see, off to a slow start, 1 for 6 from downtown. Earlier, we talked with Phoenix coach Paul Westphal and discussed the three-point shooting game.
We only have 3 guys that shoot threes. Dan Marley, Danny Ainge, and Charles. And I like it when 2 of them shoot them.
Well, that's the one guy that we know he's talking about, Charles, but he also understands that that's part of what Charles's game is all about. He's going to get back there, take his three-point attempts. He has the 3rd most taken on this team. He's shooting just over 28% from the three-point line. And Paul understands, Paul Westphal, that you live with it and you move on.
Phoenix Suns have outscored the Orlando Magic 13-5, but Shaquille O'Neal is back on the floor. That was the run with Shaquille sitting down. The Suns by 5. Anderson. Oh, beautiful play by Nick Anderson. He's at 4 out of 6. He has 8 points.
Orlando looked around. They wanted to see where the mismatch was. Frankie Johnson was guarding Nick Anderson. They reversed the basketball, got it to him, cleared out, and let him back down, Frankie Johnson, the one-on-one.
The Suns lead by 3. Colbert involved down low with Barkley. Barkley trying to post up. Dumas had it deflected. O'Neal got a piece of it. And back comes Skiles. Anderson chased by Johnson. Matchup is O'Neal and Barkley. 3-second violation. Shaquille called for the 3 seconds. And the ball goes back to the Phoenix Suns. For the Suns, it is game 3 of a 4-game homestand. They face the Los Angeles Clippers here on Wednesday night. Barkley off the pump. And a loose ball foul called on Dumas. Converging with O'Neal. That is 2 on Richard Dumas. Here's Mark West replacing him, so Dumas departs with 18 on 8 for 11. Dumas discussing things with assistant coach Lionel Hollins. Shaquille facing the double team. Nice pass for Royal. Rebounded by West.
Excellent pass that time, and Phoenix felt that that was a weakness of Shaquille's, his ability to pass out of the double team. He fired that one along the baseline.
Marley wide open. He's been off. Rebound Barkley. Fouled by Shaquille O'Neal, and that is his 3rd.
Try to keep the body on Charles Barkley to cut down the number of times he comes up with second shot opportunities. In this particular situation, the best thing for Shaq, just stay away from him, let him have the basket. The 3rd foul on Shaq, they'll have to get him out of the game.
Charles Barkley 0 for 2 from the line. The Suns lead by 4, and yes, Shaquille will have to head back to the bench. He's replaced by Terry Catledge. Terry Catledge last week very unhappy about his lack of playing time. In fact, sat out an entire game and expressed his views in his 8th year out of South Alabama. Very strong offensive rebounder. Works hard around the basket and good range on the jump shot.
Go back to his days when he played in Washington. He's about 25 pounds lighter right now than he was during his playing days with the Bullets.
Is that good or bad?
It's been great for him. He feels much better. He says, my knees really feel the difference in the weight loss.
Just under 5 minutes remaining in this first half. The Suns 41, the Magic 37. Nice fake by Barkley. Could not bank it home, and a foul has been called. Foul on Richard Dumas. That's his 3rd. Matt Guokas now going with Skiles and Royal, along with Catledge, Anderson, and Tolbert.
I think it's most important for Orlando in the last 4 plus is Kevin Johnson again backs off and intercepts the entry pass.
Marley with a low percentage lead could not hit Dumas, and Orlando able to recapture. Skiles hits the 3. Scott Skiles with his first field goal. The Suns now lead 41-40.
I was starting to say, I think it's so important that Orlando be very selective with Shaq out of here in the last 4.5 minutes of this second period, not to play a real up-tempo game unless it's a wide-open shot.
Well, Orlando on the run right here, and Skiles was able to take advantage. He had the numbers, and he's given the Magic a 42-41 lead. It's been a very solid season for Scott Skiles. He's improved his shooting, 41% last year, just under 50% this season. And he's among the leaders in assists. Barkley with the putback. Phoenix by 1. 3:45 remaining in this first half. Orlando at 21-19. They've won 3 straight. All 3 on the road over Sacramento, the LA Lakers, and Portland. Overall, they've won 7 of their last 11. Danny Ainge lands on the floor. He committed the foul.
The last time down, the offensive score for Charles Barkley. Matty Guokas and the staff complaining that Charles pushed off as Tolbert went up. And yes, it was only a slight shove with the right hand, but enough to send Tolbert out of bounds and give Charles 2 points.
Skiles setting up against Kevin Johnson. Nick Anderson. Terry Catledge. Working against Charles Barkley. And the call. Apparently a technical foul on Matt Guokas.
And again, Matt Guokas is unhappy with the fact that Charles that time on the entry pass into Catledge shoved him in the back and knocked Catledge off the block. He was still frustrated from the last time down the floor when Barkley got the offensive rebound. After the free throw, we'll take a look at how on the defensive end of the floor, Barkley shoves the guy he's guarding away on the entry pass. Matt Guokas just wants the call. First, the body bumping down low. As the ball is in the air, the push right there. You start close to the basket, you wind up 18 feet away with a little shove.
Matt Guokas in his 7th season as an NBA head coach signed a new 3-year contract last April. Only head coach in Orlando's 4-year history. Catledge drawing the double team. Guy looking for a travel, and the call is made.
Correct call. Pivot foot, which was the left foot, was picked up that time as Catledge trying to kick back out again. Caught in the double team. You're looking for help. Left foot is down. Left foot is down. Left foot is up. That's a travel.
The Suns 44, the Magic 42, just under 3 minutes remaining first half. And Cedric Ceballos, who just checked in, was called for a traveling violation. So Orlando will get it back, but first a timeout taken. Shaquille O'Neal sitting it out after picking up his 3rd foul.
Why would anyone stay in a place where the night lasts for 6 months?
Come on, let me show you where it's at. Come on, let me show you where it's at. Come on, let me show you where it's at.
Hey, Jay. Got a couple of cold ones?
Hey, guys, it's the Arctic.
Cold Miller Lite, I like it like that.
Great taste in a less filling beer is pretty important, especially when you have a long evening in front of you.
Working nights is gonna kill me.
Miller Lite, it's everything you want a beer to be.
Why can't van doors swing open instead of slide? Why do minivans handle like trucks? Why can't they feel more like a car? This is what the engineers at Mazda wondered when they designed the MPV. Because when you ask better questions, you tend to come up with better answers.
Why does your door do that?
The Mazda MPV.
It just feels right.
I like going through changes. I am down for variety. So it's nice that McDonald's now offers a burger of the month. Each month, a different delicious burger. Yo, it's me. This month, it's the double quarter pounder with cheese. A half pound of 100% pure beef piled high on a sesame seed bun. It's all that. Now, next month, we can look forward to a different burger taste. That's happening. What you want is what you get at McDonald's today.
Remember this great moment from 1991?
What a shot.
Hit the pin, hit the pin. Hey, we're in. All right.
Thanks for the memories. The Bob Hope Chrysler Classic. The memories continue next weekend on NBC.
Well, over the years, Charles Barkley, first as a member of the 76ers of Philadelphia, now of the Phoenix Suns, has certainly had his ups and downs with officials. This is the scene at Madison Square Garden. Right at the final buzzer on January the 18th, Charles upset with the officiating and went right at Jimmy Clark, and as a result was suspended for a game and was fined. And Charles, with his great affection for officials, has in his locker an inflatable referee doll. It is unopened, it should be pointed out, but I think he's ready to go at it at any time.
Well, we need to point out also that it was sent to Charles by a loyal Phoenix Suns fan. Charles would never go out and such a thing himself.
Foul on Kevin Johnson. Kevin Johnson with 5 steals in this first half. Scott Skiles to the free throw line for the first time. Scott Skiles in his 7th year from Michigan State, one of the top foul shooters in the league, just under 90% last year. Johnson trying to feed Barkley. And it's a traveling violation.
You try to keep Kevin Johnson in front of you, but that's easier said than done. Tremendous speed and quickness off the dribble.
The Suns and the Magic tied at 44. Marley with the steal, pops it out to Ainge. Back the other way, Sabonis. And the crowd looking for a goaltender.
It was not on the glass. It was still on the way up. No goaltender. Here's
Cowledge. Ainge tears it down. Orlando gets back. Kevin Johnson. Beautiful.
You talk about 2 players that have had to keep their heads up. Cedric Ceballos has started 20 games this season for Phoenix, just like Miguel Knight has started 21. And now with the addition of Dumas and different lineup changes, both players barely get into games anymore.
Tolbert. And back come the Suns. Barkley for Johnson. And the foul.
How quickly can you change from the defensive end to the offensive end and outnumber the opponents? And when you have a player like Charles Barkley with the ability to lead the break and make the pass at the end, it gives you that little bit something special.
Kevin Johnson looking to complete the three-point play. A tough injury hit season for Kevin. Hamstring problems. Been on the injured list twice this season. The Suns 49, the Magic 44. So Phoenix with its biggest lead. Earlier today, Orlando led by as many as 5. They double up on Donald Royal. He finds Tom Tolbert. Good play. Tolbert has 8. Tom Tolbert, a favorite in this area from the University of Arizona.
Mark, talk about controlling tempo. At halftime in their last game, Phoenix had 68 points against the Lakers. Right now, with over a minute remaining, at 49.
Tolbert upset. Scott Skiles took a shot in the far head. Tom Tolbert called for the foul, his first.
The ability to put the ball on the floor and take it to the basket. So many of the Suns players have that ability. Marley, whether you play him at the big guard spot, the small forward position, or even at the big forward spot, hurt you from the three-point line, and then if you get up too close, you'll take it to the basket.
He's been off today, though. Comes in averaging 17 a game. That's second in scoring to Barkley. The Suns 0 for 4 from the field. 3 were from downtown, and misses on his first free throws. A 78% foul shooter. That's his first point. The Suns by 4.
Phoenix will use a little half-court trap occasionally, just trying to disrupt the offense of their opponent. They haven't shown it yet in this game.
Just under 1 minute remaining in the half. Anderson called for the charge. Nick Anderson committing his second foul.
You talk about the in-between game. When you start to drive to the basket, you need to be able to pull up and shoot that little 10-foot jump shot rather than always taking it to the rim, because players will rotate over and get in front of you to pick up offensive fouls.
Evan Johnson using the pick, and Barkley on a pick and roll. Ainge shooting. Anderson's pass knocked away. He recovered. And they get a big break. That was deflected, and Donald Royal was able to finish it off to bring the Magic within 2 points. Kevin Johnson. And Tolbert was able to keep it away from Ceballos. Anderson leading Royal. Rebound Tolbert. And the game is tied at 50 with 20 seconds to go in the half.
Orlando doing an excellent job of running selectively. They see they have numbers, they take advantage of it, and take advantage of the fact that you're going to get a much better, higher percentage shot 4-on-2 rather than back it out and try and run half-court offense. Good decision-making.
And they've gone through this run with Shaquille O'Neal on the bench after picking up his third foul. That's the end of the first half. The Suns and the Magic are tied at 50. Shaquille O'Neal, 6 of 8 from the field, 14 points. With Shaquille on the floor, Orlando led 32-28. And with Shaquille on the bench, they were outscored by 4, although Orlando did make a good run in the final minutes. Tie game at 50. Our halftime is coming up.
While the fluid styling of the Mazda 929 may be timeless, the 929 personal lease offer is considerably shorter. Because now you can lease the 929, complete with dual airbags, anti-lock brakes, and European leather, for just $399 per month. So see your Mazda dealer today. Like all good things, this offer must soon come to an end.
Guess what motor oil gives you unbeatable wear protection? Give them a clue, Bert.
Quaker State.
What motor oil is unsurpassed in preventing sludge buildup?
Quaker State.
Now, guess what motor oil Bert uses?
Quaker State is one tough motor oil.
Good guess.
I feel Danorex tingling on this side, nothing on the head and shoulder side. I love that tingle, so I tried Danorex for my dandruff. It really came through. The flaking stopped, my scalp doesn't itch.
Danorex with conditioners, the serious dandruff shampoo.
I've switched to Danorex.
Every business has its own language.
First part represents the party of the second part. Under subpart B application.
And at US Air, we understand them all.
Another option would be to option the script that they didn't option. That's an option.
Purely option.
It's why we offer business travelers more flights than any other airline.
8 meg of RAM and 1.2 gigabyte internal hard drive.
Everything we do. How about these megabytes? US Air begins with you.
Filtered Miller Genuine Draft. The world's a very cool place.
Next Saturday, Monster Mash, Jamal Mashburn leads the second-ranked Kentucky Wildcats against the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. This is the Prudential Halftime Report, brought to you by the Prudential. In a changing world, one thing remains rock solid, the Prudential.
Okay, halftime at the America West Arena. The Suns and the Magic tied at 50. Here are Shaquille O'Neal's stats. 14 points, all in the first quarter, 3 fouls, and a 35-minute repair time log after he nearly brought the basket and the support down with what for him was just a moderate display of strength. You know, he's been disqualified from 5 games this year after fouling out, so that's one weakness in his game as a rookie, and he picked up 3 fouls, and that kind of limited him in the second quarter, all 14 of his points in the first quarter, and the Suns went on a 13-5 run when O'Neal was on the bench. The game is tied at 50. Barkley has 11 for the Suns, and the outstanding rookie Richard Dumas has 18 points at the half. We'll get back to the game in just a minute, but now, as we promised at the beginning of the day, we want to take some moments here to reflect on the life of Arthur Ashe. It was my privilege to know him, and I considered him a friend, but I didn't know him nearly as well as our Bud Collins, who, of course, is NBC's tennis commentator and also a columnist for the Boston Globe. And Bud, as you see, is standing by in Boston. Let's turn it to him for his thoughts on his friend Arthur Ashe. Bud?
Well, Bob, he was a man of compassion and a man of character. And tennis, not only tennis, but I think all sports, has lost a beacon because he was a man of reason and of style and of taste. And those kind aren't around. It's like you were in Boston the other night, and Irvin Johnson said to you about Larry Bird, there will never, ever, ever, ever be another Larry Bird. Well, there will never, ever, ever, ever be another Arthur Ashe.
And obviously, he transcended his sport. His achievements within the sport, winning at one time or another 3 of the 4 Grand Slam events, speak for themselves. But his story is so much bigger than the tennis court. And as you mentioned earlier today, the word integrity, which is often overused, certainly applied to him. In his own way, not being swayed by pressures on either side, in his own way, he held to the course that he believed was right.
Capital I in integrity. That's absolutely right. And he wasn't a politically correct guy. He was a guy who grew and wanted to find out. I can remember in 1970 when the women were trying to form their circuit, and Arthur said, they belong in the kitchen. Well, he didn't gain political correctness. He just grew, and he saw what they were doing, and later on, they looked to him as an inspiration, as somebody who could speak out for the good things and the right things. And he never stopped doing that. Imagine suffering from AIDS, having to check with his doctors, and being arrested recently for standing up for the right things for Haiti. So right to the end, this guy was thinking, he was doing. After he learned he had AIDS, he put out this monumental 3-volume study on black athletes in the United States, Bob, and he just kept going right to the end. He had resolve, and he had strength, such as we've seldom seen.
About 30 seconds here, and obviously that's not adequate to sum him up, not by any means, but what is his essential legacy as you see it, Bud?
I think his legacy is thought. I think he really put a lot of thought into everything before he spoke. He was a leader in tennis such as we've never had since. He was one of the first presidents of the Association of Tennis Pros. That was the union 20 years ago. This year, they stood up against Wimbledon, boycotted Wimbledon. Now, of course, they're just a bunch of individuals, and they had a lot of integrity then. I'm not sure anybody in the game has it now. I hope somebody proves me wrong, but I hope people will look to Arthur and to his examples because, as Spike Lee would say, he had it right. He did the right thing almost universally, Bob.
Bud, thanks a lot, and of course, our deepest sympathies to his wife, Jeannie, and his little daughter, Camera. In all my years in sports, I never met a more decent person than Arthur Ashe. When we come back, we'll take a look at the Chicago Bulls. That's after a message from Prudential and a word from the NBA.
Start saving $300 a month when you're 23, and you could retire a millionaire. Start at 30, and you might reach 600,000. At 40, about 200,000. Which is why you need Prudential's Financial Assessment Program. A personalized computer analysis of where you are, where you want to go, and how we can help. Because nobody plans to fail. They just fail to plan. Call Prudential Insurance now.
Open the door. Open the door. Open the door. You've got to open the door to education.
attendance is the doorway to the future.
You've got to believe in education.
Please open the door to education. If you don't, you just might get shut out.
Okay, Orlando and Phoenix tied at 50 at halftime. The second half of our doubleheader is a rematch of last year's NBA Finals between the Bulls and the Trailblazers. The Bulls, before winning 3 games on the West Coast this week, finished the month of January with a 7-8 record. It was their first losing month since Phil Jackson became Chicago's head coach. As Quinn Buckner discovered, there are nagging questions about the champs. Here's Quinn.
The past 2 repeat champions know the difficulty of trying to three-peat.
It's the 3rd year in a row that, they're going to be challenged, by, 27 other teams. They're going to load up on the world champions. They're going to come at them hard every night.
The Pistons fell to win 3 in a row.
Everybody's always looking at what's wrong with your team, what's wrong with you guys. Something's wrong. You're not playing as hard as you did last year.
And this year finds the Bulls in search of their 3rd consecutive NBA championship. It's been a season with many more questions than answers for Phil Jackson. Chicago's had a harder time than they thought they would at home, with losses already to Orlando and Charlotte. And they've also hit some unexpected bumps on the road, including a loss to lowly Denver. They've already acquired 15 losses, which equals their loss total for all of last year.
Everyone knows the party begins in the playoffs, but you have to get to that point. And, going through it twice, you tend to forget about the importance of an 82-game season. I think that's really one of the biggest problems that we've dealt with this year.
It's not the fact that you don't want it bad enough, just teams are gunning for you. And, you have to come out on top of your game because they're playing 4 or 5 points better than what they're capable of most of the nights just on the pure adrenaline.
Injuries have slowed the Bulls all year. Bill Cartwright is still recovering from knee surgery. John Paxson has just had surgery this week, and new acquisition Rodney McCray is out for another 3 weeks.
We played 4 years basically injury-free, and then this year, things have caught up with us, and we're just happy that we're going along the way we're going along without Michael, Scotty, or Horace having an injury that's sustaining a long period of downtime for them.
With Paxson's injury and his game in decline, B.J. Armstrong has stepped into the starting lineup. That's created a void. No longer do the Bulls have a reliable scorer coming off the bench.
The hunger's there, the desire's there. It's just a matter of us building it up to where we can go out and destroy a team like we were capable of doing last year.
Depth behind Jordan, Pippen, and Grant remains a concern. With the trade deadline approaching, the question for the Bulls Brain Trust is, what sort of tinkering is necessary, if any?
I don't think it's a time to panic and start throwing certain different personalities on this team that may not blend. At least you got a blend, you got a nucleus that's been working for the last few years. And to start acting in a very desperate situation, throwing personalities that may not adapt to what's here, it's taking a long shot. I'm not ready to take a long shot.
Take care of business. Let's go. This past week, the Bulls played like the defending champions. Down by 20 against Utah, Jordan and company staged a furious fourth-quarter rally that spelled victory. But they downplayed the significance of their good week.
It's not how many games you can win in January, February, how well you're playing in. It's who's playing best basketball in the playoffs. And that's what we're pointing to, is getting ourselves geared up to finish at the end. We love to win these games now. We struggled last month, but there's nothing we can do. We gave it our all. We left our games on the court, and now we must move on.
Okay, Quinn, in addition to the injuries, which finally have caught up with them after they led a charmed life in the 2 championship seasons, there's the question of minutes for the big 2, Jordan and Pippen. They play well into June in 2 consecutive championship seasons. In the second of those, they're in Barcelona with the Dream Team. These guys are playing too many minutes.
Well, they're definitely playing too many minutes, and what it brings into question is the bench. But the rotation had got skewed a little bit. When you had the 2 injuries to Cartwright and Paxson, with Paxson not playing, B.J. is in, so that takes you out of rotation. They've even brought Darrell Walker to try to solidify that, but I think they missed Cliff Livingston with the energy most of all. And I think Rodney McCray, and I and a lot of other people in the league thought that Rodney McCray playing 2 and 3 positions could help them because he could spell both Pippen and Jordan. His injury has really crippled the Bulls, and they've had to make adjustments.
And Pippen's hobbling a little bit himself as it is. Let's turn our attentions quickly to the Magic and the Suns. You want to be an Eastern power and have to play Orlando in the first round of the playoffs. If the playoffs started today, they'd play Cleveland. It's possible they could play either the Knicks or the Bulls. Might not beat them, but they'd extend them and beat them up with Shaq.
Well, Shaq is going to be a problem. I don't care how you cut it. So you absolutely don't want to play Shaquille O'Neal. What they've been able to do, though, is Nick Anderson has really started to up his game. So between Nick Anderson and Shaquille O'Neal, now you know that the Orlando Magic are a force. What I like about all of this is there's some new faces with Richard Dumas on the Suns, and there's some new teams. Charlotte can play, and you now know that the Orlando Magic can play as well.
And if they get Dennis Scott back in the groove, they'll be all the tougher. Now, they've won 3 straight games on the road, and they're even at the half in Phoenix, best record in the league. Phoenix has lost only 1 home game all season, and that was to Chicago. So that shows you that the Magic is a force to be dealt with. 2 other scores quickly. Boston and Golden State, early fourth quarter, Celtics leading 65-60. Halftime between the Nets and the Bucks, and New Jersey leads 59-53. The newly acquired Bernard King has not played yet for the Nets. We'll get back for the second half of the Suns and the Magic. Marv Albert and Mike Fratello will rejoin you right after these messages from your local station. Quinn and I will see you later in the day.
This has been the Prudential Halftime Report, brought to you by the Prudential. In a changing world, one thing remains rock solid: the Prudential.
She says, Dad, he raped me.
He threatened to blow Tyson's brains out.
Maaco Supreme Plus on sale now. Our Supreme Plus finish is twice as good at half price. Come to your local Maaco Center and get a $399 Supreme Plus steel, now only $199, half price. The Maaco Supreme Plus sale.
Guess what motor oil gives you unbeatable wear protection? Give him a clue, Bert.
Quaker State.
What motor oil is unsurpassed in preventing sludge buildup?
Quaker State.
Now, guess what motor oil Bert uses?
Quaker State is one tough motor oil.
Good guess.
Now, we just spent $9.50 for lunch at Taco Cabana, right?
Everything at Taco Cabana is made from scratch.
Why would you want to spend $30 for lunch over there?
At Taco Cabana, they grill their fajitas right in front of you.
Expensive drinks plus a tip.
Taco Cabana is real food fast. Get real. Get Taco
Cabana. All right.
Okay, all right. Chuck Licata with KMOL Sports.
Welcome back to Phoenix halftime. Orlando and Phoenix tied at 50. Marv Albert with the czar of the telestrator, Mike Fratello, along with Dan Hicks. Shaquille O'Neal looking very strong offensively in the first half. 6 of 8, 14 points, but held to 15 minutes of playing time because of foul difficulty. Richard Dumas leading the Suns with 18. Charles Barkley, 5 out of 10 for 11 points.
Well, Shaquille and Charles have done their job, okay, for the respective teams. It's the other players that need to step forward. There, Marley, only 1 point in the first half for the Phoenix Suns.
Yes, Marley with that one foul shot, that was it. He was off from the field. Second half is coming up shortly right here. Let's go over to Dan Hicks alongside Orlando coach Matt Guokas. Dan?
Thanks, Marv. You have to be pretty happy, Coach, with the way your ball club responded the last 5:15 of the first half. Shaq out with 3 fouls, yet we're tied at halftime.
Well, we're doing a good job in a couple of key areas. First of all, we've turned the ball over too much, but we're not getting hurt in the transition, in which the Phoenix Suns are capable of doing a lot of damage, and we're not getting hurt on second shot opportunities, and we're shooting a great percentage. That's why we're in the ballgame.
But Richard Dumas has gotten loose for some transition buckets. He has 18 first-half points.
Oh, he's a tremendously talented player. He's great in the open floor. He's quick around the basket. Obviously, we're trying to do some things to stop Barkley and Kevin Johnson, and it's opening things up for him.
All right, Coach. Good luck in the second half. Marv?
All right, now there is Richard Dumas. 8 for 12 for his 18 points to lead the Suns. We'll be back in a moment.
This is one of the easiest places for a Jeep Cherokee to go. But not because of its proven capability or its legendary Jeep ruggedness. What makes it so easy to bring the classic Jeep Cherokee here is the price.
Now save an additional $500 on new 93 Jeep Cherokees.
It's a whole new world facing today's chief executive.
Leadership, courage.
The economy is global.
Our mission is
Competition is fierce.
best in the world.
Financial pressures are unrelenting. But there is one firm that can help CEOs make the difference between the worst of times and the best of times. Coopers & Lybrand. Not just knowledge, know-how.
Above all else, I had to win her. But should I go here or there? Or just put my pants on backwards? Would she feel it was a cosmic roller coaster to the stars? Or just a metaphysical bus ride to Palookaville? I seized the moment.
Share the six-pack. Coors Light, the right beer now.
New York's Patrick Ewing. Orlando's Shaquille O'Neal. Two towers of power go head-to-head in a St. Valentine's Day battle of titans. There'll be no love lost when the Knicks meet the Magic. The NBA on NBC next Sunday.
Yes, the Shaq has made his way to Phoenix as we check out the Miller Genuine Draft halftime statistics. Orlando shooting very well, 22 for 39, 56%, led by Shaquille, 6 out of 8, 14 points. Phoenix at 49%. Look at the fast break points by the Phoenix Suns.
Phoenix, a great transition team because of the number of players that have the ability to get out, fill, and convert.
And Charles Barkley, 11 points and 7 rebounds. The game tied at 50 as we head to the third quarter. Mike, you look at the stat sheet, and still there are defensive questions about the Phoenix Suns.
There's no question, Marv. They have given up 48% defensive field goal percentage this season. There's only 5 teams worse than that in the NBA. Dallas, Atlanta, Golden State, Philly, and Washington. All 5 teams have losing records. So the question is, can Phoenix stop you well enough to win the whole thing?
And the Suns are going with Tom Chambers starting the second half. Played 6 minutes in the first half. Did not take a shot. In the earlier meeting back in December, Chambers came off the bench to hit for 27 points in the victory over Orlando. Phoenix won that game 108-107. Shaquille O'Neal giving the Magic a 2-point lead. Suns won both meetings last season against Orlando. Of course, a different Orlando club. A year ago, they were 21-61 last in the Atlantic Division. And a pushing foul call. Orlando has already matched its victory total of last season. Shaquille played only 15 minutes because of foul trouble in the first half. Scott Skiles called for the foul.
You can see the guy that they're going after right now is Scott Skiles. Trying to take Skiles out of the game. If he doesn't have the ball in his hands, then he cannot be a threat of one, making the feed pass to Shaquille, and then beyond the floor to hit out on the three-point jumpers, perimeter shots after double teams take place. Scott Skiles on the bench would really hurt Orlando.
Tom Tolbert picked up the foul. Crowd reacting. They thought it would be called on Shaquille. So Chambers with his first point of the game. Tom Chambers has been forced to change his style. He has pulled back with this new look Phoenix ball club, fitting in with the offense.
And we asked Paul Westphal yesterday, why has Tom been able to adjust easier now? There was some friction last year between Cotton, Fitzsimmons, and Chambers about the fact that Cotton would bring him off the bench occasionally as Skiles knocks down a 15-footer. And the answer was simple. Paul said, look, with Charles Barkley on the team, Tom has to realize that the talent in front of him is unquestionably better. He's willing to accept his role now.
And with Chambers being guarded by O'Neal, he's able to bring Shaquille outside. He's tied the game at 54. Shaquille drawing the double team. Barkley won't count. Offensive foul. It's a charge on Charles, who's upset. That's his first foul.
And a technical foul on Charles for kicking the basketball. Charles felt he was moving to his right, floating sideways. He did not come straight on to the defensive player. The official, with a different angle, saw it a different way.
The Technical against Barkley, putting Skiles on the line. Orlando 55 and Phoenix 54. I mentioned the Orlando record last year, 21-61. At one point last December, they went 0-15. So the Magic going from just another expansion team to a team on the rise on the 7th of August, 1992. That's the day the Magic signed Shaquille O'Neal. Anderson for three. Barkley handles the back tap. Johnson penetrating. Bowie got a piece of it. Good recovery by Marley. The Suns by one.
Marley not having a real good first half from the floor, so you try to find other ways to score points. Get out on fast breaks or get on the offensive glass.
Skiles. And Dumas fires one too far for Johnson.
Fast break basketball. Johnson turns the corner. Felt he got fouled right there, but then Marley with the second effort and offensive rebound.
Orlando with the ball. They are down by one. 3 minutes gone by. In the third quarter, Shaquille O'Neal gives the Magic a 1-point advantage.
Chambers trying to defend Shaquille from the top side. Got caught too high that time. So easy for Shaquille to just drop step, turn the corner.
Bowie had it knocked away. Knocked out of bounds by Dumas.
A second ago, Tom Chambers got caught on the high side. You allow Shaquille to turn to the baseline. This is what's going to happen. Too dangerous to get caught top side.
Anderson gets the pick. Anderson off the spin. Beautiful shot by Nick Anderson. Double figures for Anderson. He has 10. Orlando with a 3-point lead. What a road trip it has been for the Orlando Magic. Barkley getting inside. So the Magic lead by one. This is game 4 of a 5-game journey. They have won their first 3 on this trip. A trip that concludes tomorrow night at Utah. Wednesday they are back home for the Cleveland Cavaliers. And Orlando is 9-9 overall. The roll, pushing foul on Chambers.
Actually, Chambers had done a pretty good job of getting Shaquille off the low left block. He moved him out about 4 or 5 feet away from the post-up area. A lob pass high, but Chambers with the hand in the back trying to get him out even further from the basket.
Tolbert, O'Neal, Anderson up front, Skiles, and Bowie at the guards. Picked off. Barkley has a 3-on-1. Dumas from Barkley. The Suns 60, the Magic 59.
Sometimes Scott Skiles tries to do things or make things happen that aren't really there. Coaches will tell you, keep it simple. Don't try to throw look-away passes if it's not a certain thing. That time, Skiles try to thread the needle. The turnover takes place.
Anderson line drives it off glass. What a shot by Nick Anderson. Magic 61 and the Suns 60. Barkley through the corner. That is number 4 on Shaquille.
And it shouldn't have happened. What actually took place was Shaquille noticed that no one had picked up Charles Barkley coming down, so Shaquille comes on out to get him. Charles with the little head fake, ball fake, gets him in the air and then initiates contact. Someone must stop the ball sooner. Earlier, Nick Anderson was caught with 2 people, couldn't make a decision which way to go. Shaq picks up the foul.
Barkley only 1 out of 4 at the line. Well, Matt Guokas has not made a move. Shaquille O'Neal remaining on the floor after picking up number 4. Phoenix and Orlando are tied at 61. 5 minutes gone by in the third. Skiles. The Magic leading by 2. 12 points for Skiles. Chambers given the room. Skiles gets to the rebound. Dumas knocked it away. It'll be Orlando ball. Timeout taken. 6:48 to go. Third quarter.
Battle the Trailblazers. NBC next.
If potato chips are gonna cross your lips, keep them fresh, make them fine all the time. That's Pringles, pop the Pringles. Not like chips in a bag, they don't stay fresh. It's a drag. Candles bagged with buster pieces, get your hands full of greases. We've got whole crunchy chips, clean and crispy to your lips. Pringles, pop the Pringles. Go for fresh because Pringles got them. Fresh, pop right to the bottom. Once you pop, you can't stop.
This is our latest concept car. Of course, before we could sell it to the general public, we'd have to tone down its 214 horsepower engine and replace its specially tuned performance suspension. So when do we plan on making these changes? We don't. Introducing Eagle Vision TSI, definitely not intended for the general public.
Get me a boat to take me there. Silver sands on a white hot beach. All of my friends and time to spare. A cold silver bullet in my reach. It's the taste of the Rockies with the cold crisp air. A silver bullet. I'm gonna get me a boat some way, somehow. And it's blue silver bullet now. Cool life, but right there now.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by Jeep and Eagle, official vehicles of the NBA. By Pringles, so fresh, once you pop, you can't stop. And by U.S. Air. Every time we fly, everything we do, U.S. Air begins with you.
Is that your hand, Mike? I know you've been collecting these NBA cards, and
I have my collection. I have my collection in order.
Well, the Shaq attack has been stalled here with personal foul number 4 committed by Shaquille, but Matt Guokas will stay with him.
It's not unlike rookies to pick up a lot of fouls. I think Shaquille has done a very good job this year of keeping his disposition in the proper perspective. He's handled the officials very well. I think the officials like him. He doesn't say a whole lot out on the basketball court. Just shows up and plays the game. I think the officials respect him and like him for that.
Well, he has the great smile and the good personality as he gets right to it. Also good hands and a pretty good offensive game.
Talking about that lob pass, before the game I was asking Scott Skiles the key to it. Is it just eye contact? Is there a signal? He said, you know, for the first 20 games I would not throw the pass. He said, I never had a real big man that could go catch the thing, go get it. Shaquille told me, just throw it up there, don't worry about it. He said, I'll come down with it.
And Dumas brings the Suns within 2. Orlando 65, Phoenix 63. Good one here at the America West Arena with just under 6 minutes to go in the third quarter. Anderson. Evan Johnson moves back. Now has Danny Ainge in the backcourt. Johnson rebounded by Tolbert. Boone pulling it up, finding Anderson. Nick Anderson uses the glass so well. And the Magic up 67-63.
Seems to get great pleasure out of the way he uses the glass.
I love bank shots. I don't know what it is. West called for a travel. Might say it's a bank shot fetish. I just can't explain it. So.
Shaquille always looking to reverse, and he has the great hands, the ability to catch the lob. Skiles loves the fact that he's got a big guy that can catch the lob pass and convert.
It was back in 1991 that the Orlando Magic stopped a 13-game home win streak of the Phoenix Suns with a 124-116 victory. The Suns have won 14 straight at home. Skiles for 3.
That's why you need Scott Skiles out on the basketball floor. That's why Phoenix has tried to attack him off the dribble with Kevin Johnson more here in the second half. They want him on the bench out of the game.
Biggest lead of the game. A 7-point margin. Dumas finding Chambers. Tom Chambers starting the second half. And that is second field goal. He has 7 points. The Magic 70. The Suns 65. 4.5 to go in the third. Anderson to the open. Tolbert fouled by West.
Orlando, an excellent job of understanding what happens with the double team, and once they reverse the ball out of the double team from Shaq to the top of the circle over to the opposite side of the floor, it's the dribble penetration that then gets the defense scrambling. 3 Phoenix Suns converge around the ball to stop dribble penetration, then the drop-off pass becomes that much easier.
It's been a strong game for Tom Tolbert. 10 points, 9 rebounds. And hearing it from the crowd back here in the state of Arizona, where he played for the Wildcats of Arizona. Last year he ended up in Don Nelson's doghouse after showing up in training camp out of shape. He had been a starter and a big favorite in Oakland. And then he went on to Orlando, and he's worked his way into the starting lineup. Kevin Johnson. The Magic leading by 3, 70-67. Tom Tolbert was a question mark today because of a sprained ankle that suffered in the game on Friday night in Portland. Anderson setting up against Dumas. Shot clock at 4. Anderson, yes, and it counts. This time, no backboard. Dumas called for the foul, and Anderson will go to the line.
Well, I mentioned earlier that he had done an excellent job, and I'm talking about Anderson, of developing his ball handling skills. The other area, his ability to make the perimeter shot. A question mark when he first came into the NBA. People backed off him. They were concerned about his ability to drive it to the basket or post up. But he has worked on his outside game, and if he can continue to make outside shots, what a plus when you got a big guy like Shaquille down low and a couple guys like Skiles and Anderson. And remember, Dennis Scott is not even in uniform, another guy who really stretches the defense.
17 points for Anderson. Skiles with Chambers getting back. And Orlando has taken a 75-67 lead. We're down to 3:20 to go in the third. Chambers had it knocked away. Last touch by Orlando.
KJ using the pick and roll. The block that time. Shaq with the arm up high. The lower part, legs down low. Don't worry about it. Forget it.
That's a three-pointer for Danny Ainge. His second of the game. Orlando 75 and Phoenix 70. Tolbert stopped. Loose ball foul. Oh, Tolbert with a shove on Johnson.
The confrontation between Kevin Johnson and Tolbert, and then after the play, Tolbert winds up shoving KJ with both hands. KJ walks in his face. The shove will cost him the technical foul.
And the officials want the room at center court to sort it out. They're waving players away. Matt Gukas, the Orlando coach, came over. And now a discussion between Jack Madden, George Tolliver, Steve Javie.
After the drive to the basket by Tolbert, in the scramble for the loose ball is where it became heated between Kevin and Tolbert as both players were about to go down on the ground. Kevin felt that Tolbert threw him to the ground with the right arm, reacts to it. Tolbert says, wait a minute, get out of here. You're too small to be coming after me.
Tolbert was assessed a personal foul, his third. A timeout has been taken. And we will take a commercial break. When we come back, we'll have it all sorted out. Let's see what they call in terms of...
It's a refreshing taste from a cold, cold place. Yeah, it's easy going down from the very first round. Pure as can be, it's a natural, you see. Oh, it's smooth, smooth, silver bullet smooth. Yeah, well, that's our story. Now it's your call. Cold Coors Light, it's the right beer now. That's all. Bye-bye.
Since your face can't adjust to your razor should adjust to your face, which is exactly why we designed the Schick Tracer. The Schick Tracer is the only razor with blades that bend and flex to the unique shape of your face. So the Tracer gets in close for a clean, comfortable shave. And since you can't change your face, maybe you should change your razor. Schick, we're changing the face of shaving.
At Eagle, we're well aware of what kind of cars the general public wants. And for 1993, we're happy to announce that once again, we didn't build them. Introducing the new Eagle Vision, the new Eagle Summit, and Eagle Talon. Cars specifically designed for performance enthusiasts, because appealing to the masses has never appealed to us. Eagle, not intended for the general public.
Fred Couples, Arnold Palmer, plus celebrities from the worlds of sports and entertainment, all at the Bob Hope Chrysler Classic, next weekend on NBC.
The officials have called a technical foul on Tom Tolbert of Orlando. That's the only call. That was preceded by the personal foul call, and Tom Chambers will shoot the technical.
A look back at the play. The personal foul is called as Tolbert and Kevin Johnson are scrambling for it. Right there is the personal foul, the throwing down to the floor of Kevin Johnson, and then the technical foul there as Kevin Johnson walks up into his face.
Orlando Magic 75, Phoenix Suns 70. 2:50 to go. Third quarter. Kevin Johnson with the stop. He penetrated and then was able to lift. And he has words in the direction of Tom Tolbert.
Yeah, I'd say that Kevin Johnson came out of that timeout slightly pumped up. And this is a Kevin Johnson this year who has had to take a back seat because of the number of scorers that they have on this team. He says, my biggest contribution is get the ball to the right people and play good defense. We need me to play good defense. You talk about athletic ability. Get up, elevate, and then left-handed send it down.
Foul called on Mark West. Charles Barkley getting set to come on. Barkley for West. West leads with a field goal, 2 points. And it's Barkley guarding Tolbert. Magic leading by 3. Skiles, nice setup. Barley got a piece of it. Chambers, offensive foul. It will not count. Chambers for the charge. That's his 4th foul.
Chambers felt that the charge was under the basket, that there should have been no call, but I think it will show clearly that Nick Anderson is there, holds his ground in time. Now, whether or not you agree that he should have been out farther from the rim, if you're a Phoenix fan, you say, yeah, it was a block. If you're an Orlando fan, perfect position.
Shaquille wheeling in, and he's called for a travel.
Shaquille felt that he should have been allowed to come up with his own shot attempt because he was fouled. The ball was not loose. The officials, no call, play on.
Magic by 3. Kevin Johnson was tripped up. A minute 51 remaining now in this third quarter. Here's another look at the move by Shaquille O'Neal.
One of the few times that the double team did not get there quickly. Shaquille able to split the double team. Back at the offensive end of the floor, Shaquille not real happy with that particular call. But back at the offensive end of the floor for Phoenix, Kevin Johnson now, as used to be, in what I'll call the old days under Cotton Fitzsimmons, taking over the game now, putting a lot of pressure on the defense by breaking down his man off the dribble, getting to the basket, and there is Cotton Fitzsimmons doing a little radio right now.
Nice sweater. One of many in the Cotton arsenal. Cotton, the color commentator for the Phoenix Suns on radio. Here's Skiles for 3. And it's rebounded by Barkley. Can you see Cotton still being interested in coaching at this point?
I think that Cotton Fitzsimmons would take one more coaching job, but he would only take the coaching job if it was for a team that he felt in a year or two honestly could challenge for a title. He doesn't want to go into a rebuilding situation. He's had all those years. He's had the ups and downs for too many years, he says, but he still has that bug, and I think he would do it if it were the right team.
Off the turnover, it is Orlando ball as we approach 1 minute remaining in the third quarter. Double team on Shaquille. Gets it out to Skiles. Anderson knocked away by Ainge, and a foul is called.
Tough decision here for Jack Madden, the official, to decide whether or not Nick Anderson was going up for a shot attempt here or was going to try and pass it off to Shaquille, who was located in the bottom right-hand corner. Shaq was open for a moment on that low right or low left block. Nick Anderson saw him there. Now, whether Nick was going up, in Madden's opinion, it was a shot attempt.
Foul was called on Marley. Here's Dumas for Chambers. Richard Dumas has had an enormous game, but he has 4 fouls, 22 points for Dumas. He's the high man. Kevin Johnson has 15. Charles Barkley with 14. Shaquille O'Neal leading Orlando with 20. So the Magic 77 and the Suns 74. The Phoenix Suns 33-9, best record in the NBA. 17-1 here at home. They've won 14 straight at home. Marley for 3. Well, Dan Marley not able to find the range earlier. Missed 3 from downtown. He's tied the game at 77.
Everything offensively is coming off of Kevin Johnson's penetration right now for the Phoenix Suns.
Anthony Bowie. He has 8 points. Orlando 79 and Phoenix 77. Third quarter winding down. Barkley surprised by that pass.
And if you're looking at the score and you're saying, well, you know, the Magic up 2 with 24 seconds remaining in the quarter, it shouldn't be like that. This team should be blowing them out. When you have confidence in this league, Orlando believes they could beat Phoenix. They felt they should have done it back in their building. If it wasn't for a couple of missed free throws at the end of the game, they would have beaten the Suns down for Orlando.
Ainge off the steal. Check the clock. Johnson. Dumas. Look out. Skiles goes flying over the Phoenix bench as time runs out in this third quarter. The Magic leading by 2.
This reading material will give you an idea of how good the new Eagle Vision TSI really is. Of course, we think...
Yes, the gorilla, the Phoenix Suns mascot, doing his finest impression of Shaquille O'Neal. Enjoyed by the Shaq man. Shaquille earlier taking the backboard down. That was 2.5 minutes gone in the game, and it led to a 35-minute delay. They had to replace the entire apparatus. Danny Ainge getting inside. Yes, and it counts. He'll go to the line. The Suns now lead 93-89.
If there's one thing Phoenix loves to do, it's throw a lob pass after a timeout. But this time, it's not going to a Ceballos, and it's not going to a Dumas. It's going to Danny Ainge. The lob, the conversion, and now Danny to the free throw line.
Donald Royal called for the foul. Ainge with his second appearance at the line, hit his first. 13 points for Ainge. The Suns 94. The Magic 89. Orlando led by as many as 8 points. Now the question is, before this gets out of hand, what a spin by Royal. The basket counts and the foul. The question is, when does Matt Guokas bring Shaquille O'Neal back into the game?
Well, first, let's talk about this guy, Donald Royal, who, if you go back to when he played under Bill Musselman in Minnesota, had a way of getting to the free throw line 10 to 12 times a night. A tremendous first step. You try and create isolations for him. In 17 minutes of play per game, he still gets there almost 5 times a night right now for Orlando. Now, if you're Matty Guokas, when do you bring Shaq back? You bring him back probably with 6.5 remaining, depending on what the score is.
O'Neal sitting down after collecting his 5th foul. 3-point Phoenix lead. Barkley spinning in, making it look easy off pump the fake, and Charles Barkley has taken this game over in the fourth quarter. You mentioned Kevin Johnson doing the same in the third.
The ability of this Phoenix team, and we talked about it in the locker room prior to the game, an illegal defense call at that time. One guy who can take the game over besides a Kevin Johnson off the dribble is a Charles Barkley. Down low, posted up, so tough to handle because he's so strong. At times, Kevin Johnson said it almost looks as if we say to the players on the floor, okay, you've got the next 4 shots. Now I'm going over to the next guy. He's getting 4 shots. He said we have so many talented offensive players. We all have to kind of sit back and let everybody take their turn. And he said Paul Westphal has done a good job of getting that message across to us. You got to wait your turn with this team.
Styles hitting the tee off the illegal defense. Royal again to the basket. Well, that first step has been able to pile up some points for Donald Royal in the fourth quarter. Suns by 2. Timeout called by the Suns.
What do we mean by the first step? It's that right leg as he starts to put the ball down on the floor. This particular time, the right leg is the first one that gets way out there. The first step is so long and so quick that he's by the initial defender. As a result, he pulls the next guy over to try and stop him. First step gets him by Ainge. It brings the next man over. Royal with the conversion.
Donald Royal, originally third-round draft pick of the Cavaliers in '87, played in the CBA. Saw service, as you mentioned, with Minnesota. Overseas, playing for Maccabi Tel Aviv in Israel, averaged 20 a game in the Israeli League. His club won the championship. Signed as a free agent by Orlando, and he has done the job. Lives on the foul line, as you said. He was 7 for 8 Friday night of the game in Portland.
And you mentioned a second ago, when do you bring Shaq back? Time and score dictates everything. If you stay close within a basket or two, you can buy a little more time for the stretch run. Right now, Orlando's done a good job of staying within 2 and 4 points, so Matty will ride the clock. If it should happen to open up, then you got to come.
Barkley has 24. Phoenix by 4. Royal foul.
That time the first step, the left one. Last couple times it was the right leg. This time, Phoenix said, let's see if this guy can go left. Well, here it is, going left. Buy him on the first one.
Donald Royal now represents the Orlando offense. They are isolating for Royal to take it to the hoop.
Again, I go back to when he played for Bill Musselman. Bill structured that offense back then with that team as just going time after time to isolations for different people. Tony Campbell, Donald Royal. And they were so good at taking you off the dribble, they drew a double team immediately. Then it was a matter of passing the ball to open people who just had to make shots. Unfortunately, they didn't make a lot of shots. Yes.
Phoenix with a 2-point lead. Marley with the open 3. Tolbert back taps. Royal is run into by Ainge. Danny Ainge called for his 4th. Phoenix over the foul limit, so Royal will go back to the line.
Brian Hill, the assistant coach with the Orlando Magic, felt that if Donald Royal were a 25, 27-minute-a-night player, he would be on the foul line at least a dozen times a night. There's Brian Hill, the assistant coach.
One of your guys, one of your former assistants.
One of my former assistants does a great job for Matty Dukas and the Magic.
One-time assistant with the Atlanta Hawks. Donald Royal now 3 out of 5 from the free throw line. Just under 6 minutes remaining in this fourth quarter. Phoenix leading by 1. The Phoenix Suns with 14 straight wins here at home. 17-1 overall. 33-9 for the season. Barkley has taken over at the Phoenix end.
Basically, Charles Barkley just moved Tolbert out of the way that time, determined to get to the basket and score or get to the free throw line.
Barkley has 26, and the Suns by 3. 12 of the 26 in the fourth. Jeff Turner converting on his first field goal attempt. The good shooting continues at both ends.
Earlier in the season when Jeff Turner was a starter for this team, Orlando, he started 17 games. He led the NBA in field goal percentage from the floor, still shooting over 55% right now.
And both teams shooting around 56 for the game. Hurley has 10 points.
Because of the three-point shooter spread out behind the three-point line, you're reluctant to leave your man and help on somebody off the dribble. As a result, Marley goes all the way to the basket.
The Suns 102. The Magic 99. Crowd chanting defense. Turner, played by Ainge. One on the shot clock. Rebounded by Barkley. And I would think very shortly we will see the entrance of provides Phoenix with a 5-point lead. Matt Guokas wants a timeout.
If you wind up taking a bad shot, or if there happens to be a long rebound, Phoenix will make you pay quickly.
Miller Genuine Draft. It's cold filtered. That's how we keep our commitment to everyone who knows that draft beer is real beer, pure beer, the best beer. It's why so many people can enjoy a beer whose taste hasn't been changed by heat pasteurization, and why so many people are making a change of their own to the Genuine Draft. Get out of the old, get into the cold.
Guess what motor oil gives you unbeatable wear protection? Give him a clue, Bert.
Quaker State.
What motor oil is unsurpassed in preventing sludge buildup?
Quaker State.
Now, guess what motor oil Bert uses?
Quaker State is one tough motor oil.
Good guess.
Since your face can't adjust to your razor, the Schick Tracer adjusts to your face. Tracer's the only razor with blades that bend and flex for a clean, close, comfortable shave. Schick. We're changing the face of shaving.
Let's see what Kevin left us this time. You mean what he didn't leave us? Hey, guys, thanks for watching the place again. Sorry there's no food, but the Celica's in the garage. We need eggs. Definitely eggs. We gotta have orange juice. Freshly squeezed orange juice. Why don't we get some bacon? Make that Canadian bacon.
The Toyota Celica. Bringing home the bacon has never been so much fun.
During the timeout, Shaquille O'Neal did report to the scorer's table. He will come on. He has 5 fouls, 4:17 remaining in the fourth quarter, and Phoenix leads Orlando 104-99. It's been a sensational shooting game. Look at Phoenix in this fourth quarter, 12 of 15. Orlando 7 of 13. Charles Barkley with 26, 12 of the 26 in the fourth. And Richard Dumas with 27. That equals his career high. On the Orlando side, Nick Anderson with 25 points. Shaquille O'Neal has 20, and Scott Skiles with 22. Again, Barkley guarding O'Neal. Royal with the head fake. Anderson kept it alive. Barkley snatches his 16th rebound. Dumas from deep. Yes. And that is a career high 29 for Richard Dumas.
Any question whether or not he can shoot the ball from the outside?
They keep giving him the shot. He's had lots of room to operate with, and he has been hitting. O'Neal, double team. O'Neal, rebound Marner. So Phoenix with the ball and a 7-point lead. Ainge, pull up. The tip is by Dumas. Barkley converts, but it will not do.
Jack Madden saying that the rim was used that time as a support device and disallowed the field goal attempt. You may not go up and hang on the rim as Charles Wright did right there. By touching the rim, he takes away the basket attempt.
And Charles getting involved in the discussion.
Best thing that Charles can do right now, and Danny Ainge should be helping him, is get him away from the official, leave him alone, let them make their decision. You don't need right now to get involved and come up with a technical foul of any sort.
And you saw Jack Madden indicating the call. remaining of the game. Phoenix 106 and Orlando 99. And a technical foul has been called. It's on Dumas for grabbing onto the rim.
If you're wondering why you see players sometimes hang on the rim after they score, nothing's called, and other times it is called. You are allowed to hang on the rim if the officials feel that you're in jeopardy of coming down on someone below you where an injury may take place. But if you hang on the rim for no reason at all with no one underneath you, then they will call the technical foul. I don't think it was called on Dumas. I think that it was Barkley they saw put his hand up on the rim and pull it down somewhat, but not enough to warrant a technical foul.
And now they're going to jump it up at the center court. Phoenix controlling the tip. The Suns lead by 6. And a loose ball foul is called. A burst by this crowd as Shaquille O'Neal has fouled out.
Well, it was a late whistle coming that time. Whether the official got a clear look or whether he was just late reacting to it, but Shaquille notices that Kevin Johnson has a clear path to the basket. At this point in the game, he feels it's better to come over and try and block it, pick up his 6th foul rather than concede the score.
It's only the 6th time that he has fouled out and leaves with 20 points, 5 rebounds, 2 blocks, a low-key effort because of the early foul trouble. He was on a tear early. He came out, he was 6 for 8 on the field in the first half, but had to leave early, played only 15 minutes. 14 of his points came in the first quarter, so not able to get on the floor much in the second half.
What frustrates a head coach is that you lose your star player because someone else either doesn't pick up Kevin Johnson, or if his man is bumped off, someone else must rotate over and stop the basketball from getting to the basket. You don't want your big man fouling out on that.
The Suns 108, the Magic 100. Phoenix gunning for its 15th straight win at home. Anderson around Marley. Tolbert with the rebound. Tolbert was stopped. Tied up by Barkley. Another strong defensive play by Charles Barkley.
Charles using the hand-in swipe technique that has been used so often against him by a number of players around the league, but we need to give credit to Bill Laimbeer because it was Bill's defensive gem way back.
31 for Richard Dumas. Orlando wants to talk it over. 22nd timeout call. Connie Hawkins among those rooting on the Phoenix Suns.
When you're allowed to just take off, get out in the open floor, and then Kevin Johnson knows that this young man is having a great day, in fact, his best thus far. Kevin more than willing to give it up, excite the fans, get him in the game because he knows the finish is going to be something special with Dumas.
Well, this crowd has reacted in enthusiastic fashion here in the fourth quarter. As the Suns have pulled away, they now lead 110-100. There's the Hawk, now the community relations representative of the Phoenix Suns, Hall of Famer. The Hawk joining the NBA with the Suns back in the 69-70 season. Phoenix won his rights by virtue of a coin flip with Seattle. And Connie coming to Phoenix following his days in the ABA.
far, Phoenix has 27 points in transition, in the fast break. Richard Dumas has 14 of those 27 points. The ability to get out and the confidence that the team has in getting him the basketball in the open floor because of his ability to score the ball.
Marley. Dan Marley, quiet in the first half, has turned it in the second. He has 12 points. The Suns in command, 112 to 101. Royal got the pick, and once again he will go to the foul line. Dumas called for his fifth. Donald Royal is 4 out of 6 from the line. The Phoenix Suns looking to make it a record of 34-9. Wednesday, they're home for the LA Clippers. Thursday, they play at Golden State. Next Saturday at Seattle. It has been a splendid season for Paul Westphal and the Suns. And they are on their way to making it 18 of 19 here at home.
Said to Paul yesterday, you're coaching the All-Star team. You got the best record in the league. You have a great team. You have a brand new arena. You have the weather and the climate in this wonderful city. Well, I mean, what more could you ask for? He said, you know, I'm trying to find something to complain about. He said, but I can't.
Marley for three. Well, Phoenix struggled from three-point range early. They have hit 5 of their last 6 from downtown.
I think it's easy to see with their ability to explode offensively why Phoenix has the best point differential in the NBA. What they score versus what they give up, plus 7.5 right now, the best in the NBA.
It's a 3-on-2. Johnson behind the back, but Marley decides to regroup. 1:15 remaining in the game. Chicago and Portland coming up next. Second part of our NBA doubleheader on the game of the week. 38 points for the Suns here in the fourth. Make it 40. Charles Barkley has 28.
Charles said yesterday, sometimes the basket seems so big I just can't miss. The game goes frame by frame in slow motion. Charles, the quick turnaround look. Now, he's done it every way today. He's dunked him. He's been on fast breaks. He's faced up, and he loves it.
Okay, here we go. See, Toyota believes there's really no difference between racing cars and racing trucks. Wow. See, the cars have advanced aerodynamics that keep the wheels firmly on the ground, which is important, and the trucks, boy, they're up there. The cars have superb handling to steer around the competition, you see, and the trucks, neat. But look, the cars won their championship, and so did the trucks. See, the results are the same.
What do you smell?
I can't smell anything. My nose is clogged, yeah.
For fast relief, try Dristan 12-hour nasal spray. Now smell.
It's an orange. Dristan nasal spray just works incredibly fast.
Dristan, the face of relief today.
The trick is knowing what to sweat and what to let go. That's what this stuff is all about. It always gives me hair that looks great without a lot of fuss.
Pert Plus. Great hair, no fuss.
Start saving $300 a month when you're 23, and you could retire a millionaire. Start at 30, and you might reach 600,000. At 40, about 200,000. Which is why you need Prudential's Financial Assessment Program. A personalized computer analysis of where you are, where you want to go, and how we can help. Because nobody plans to fail. They just fail to plan. Call Prudential Insurance now.
Well, we will see Shaquille next Sunday afternoon here on NBC as Patrick Ewing and the New York Knicks go up against the Orlando Magic. Third meeting of the season between these two clubs. They split the earlier two. Ewing and Shaquille. That is next Sunday, 1 o'clock Eastern Time on NBC. A 15-point lead now for the Suns. Tolbert backs to three-point territory. And here's Sabanos. For Miguel Knight, who checked in along with Murad Mustaf. So the Suns emptying the bench. Here is Mustaf, fouled by Tolbert. It counts. And he gets the call. Murad Mustaf, originally a first-round pick of the Knicks, sent to the Suns along with Trent Tucker in the deal for the X-Man, Xavier McDaniel. He has been disappointing. Very erratic. Had injury problems this year. Missed 13 games with a fractured hand. And he's playing here in the final minute.
Speculation that Phoenix still may do a trade, believe it or not, to try and improve their team. Mustaf, one of the names mentioned in a package deal. Perhaps more than just two teams involved in the trade.
Laterial Green, rookie from University of Georgia, has come on for the first time. That's a three-pointer. Anthony Bowie converts. We're down to 15 seconds remaining, thanks to our producer, David Neal, our director, John McDonough, Mr. Stats, Elliot Kalb, handling the statistics. As this one winds down, the Suns with a 121-105 lead. Phoenix Suns led by Richard Dumas, career high 31. That's too late. And that is the final, 121-105. 31 for Dumas. Barkley at 28, 19 rebounds. Kevin Johnson, 17 points, 9 assists. Nick Anderson.